you are victorious regardless what kind of decision you take on the next crossroad. Taking a decision on the crossroad is very difficult sometimes because we overthink it. We overthink it because we don't want to make another mistake. We don't want to make a mistake that maybe we already made, or a mistake that could cause our life to feel worse. Yeah, at least for me, this kind of feeling and overthinking comes from my teenage years, where many decisions were not okay, of course, right? We were all testing and learning, and we did not know better, or we thought we know everything, and we didn't listen to people who actually knew what is best for us. Or even if they knew what is best for us, maybe we could still ask them to tell us what they think is best for us, and then we could decide, is this really best for us? So by default, we were always against the advices of the elderly, and we had to try everything on our own. And yeah, at least me, I was running on autopilot. I didn't even know I was running on autopilot. I thought, yes, all decisions that I made have been made from my power. But now I find out that they haven't been made from my power. They had been made from my fears. And this is only when this thing you only realize when you start coming out of those automatic patterns, and you start seeing patterns for what they are. You start seeing that certain thing you are repeating in your life, and it always brings something you don't want. So why would you be repeating that decision? Usually you repeat it because it gives you power at that moment. It gives you power at that moment when it hurts. At that moment you feel powerful, and at that moment you are victorious. But the question is the long term, not at that moment. What will happen long term? So my belief is that we do not come to this earth only once, we come many times. And I don't know in reality why do we come many times, what is the purpose and everything. People tell different things, but to be honest, I don't know why. The only thing I feel is true from my gut feeling, from my instinct, is that we do it many times. The rest, I cannot tell how and what. But this many times actually gives me comfort, because regardless what decision we make, we are given opportunities to remake it. For example, myself, there was one way how I was deciding when to change my job or what kind of job to pick. And then I found out after some iterations that it doesn't work. So what would work? And then I made a different kind of decision, and it was better. Also regarding being exposed like this, I was making some decision for years. Then I made a different one and started these videos. You see, we are here today. So what I think is important to take into consideration is that we overthink our decisions, because when we start to see our patterns for what they are, and we start coming out of this automatic, non-aware kind of state of taking decisions, at least me, I start to overcomplicate, because then I know that it's important what to decide. And the thing that maybe I'm interested to explore is, because I didn't do this decision when I was 20 years old, or let's say much younger, it's much more difficult to make this decision now, because this decision now requires much more sacrifice. It brings many more fears, because our lives are more established now. Our lives are more dependent on certain things. When children are born, you start thinking differently about many things. You often put yourself to the side and say, well, for the children's sake, or for the family's sake. So as you get older, it's more difficult to take the right decisions. That's my opinion at the moment. So if you're younger than me, start taking those decisions as soon as possible in the right way, and be brave at that point, because later in life much more bravery is needed. There is much more disruptions and everything. So yeah, but it's possible. It's not impossible. Of course it's not. It's just that, at least to me, at this moment, at this awareness level that I experience now, it feels more difficult to take the same decision now as it would be 20 years ago, for example. Is it true? Is it something? I don't know, but I'm sharing my thoughts with you, and you can then comment and maybe say your point of view, and we can discuss about it. So regardless what kind of decision we take, we are victorious. I believe that there are crossroads for a reason, and they are there to check if you are ready. Are you ready, or are you gonna take the same kind of decision and learn a bit more about why would you take the other option, that is the option that is leading you forward in your development? So regardless if you take more time or less time for certain things, at least if you are aware of what you're doing, you're actually moving forward, and you are victorious. You are victorious because you have this kind of thoughts, you have this kind of thinking periods, you have this kind of contemplation and belief that you want to be responsible for your life. And sometimes there are moments that are really difficult, and you just know it's not time to take the right decision, but it's time to maybe give yourself a break for a week or two, a year maybe, and see what will happen in that time. Or sometimes maybe we will have to repeat certain things and get more convinced what's the right decision. So yeah, at this moment it's time of interesting decisions, and these decisions, the silent whisper is, I think personally, is the right one, right decision, one that pushes you forward, and the one you know is the right one. And the loud one that is convincing you what kind of decision to take is the repetition of the pattern. That's my opinion at this point of my journey. So let me know what point of journey you are on. Is there something you can teach me? Is there something you can share with me so that I would grow as well? I'm sharing my thoughts because maybe you connect to them. Maybe you also need to hear what others think and what others struggle about. So, wish you a great day. Have a nice closure of the week. And we are again in touch during the weekend. So, have a nice day. Bye bye.